Hello everybody and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and as you can see, I'm going just a little bit crazy here. Today, instead of doing one book review, I am going to be doing 2 book reviews. That's right, it is the bargain of a lifetime. If you watch the first book review, you can watch the second book review right after. Alright, so here we go. Anyway, all kidding aside, I'm going to do 2 book reviews today. The first one is going to be for The Window, and then the second one is going to be for a book called Haunted House by Rick Wood. The Window is written by Glenn Rolfe, so let's go ahead and talk about that one first. So The Window is a demonic possession story. It is the book that I chose as part of the That 70s Horror Reading Challenge, and is the one for The Power of Christ Compels You prompt, which is to read a book about an exorcism or demonic possession. It doesn't necessarily have to be one and the other. It just seems like those kind of fit together, though. So anyway, it's about this guy. His name's Richie. Richie is just a down-on-his-luck fella. His wife and him are going through a divorce. You know, his wife wants custody of the kid. He's got trouble with his plumbing, let's just say it that way, especially when it comes to bedroom encounters. So yeah, the guy's kind of down on his luck, and so one night he looks in his reflection in the glass, and he sees this kind of more demonic side of him staring back at him. And what it is these 2 demons known as Dominius, and I cannot remember the name of the other ones, but they're husband and wife demons, all right? They are mirror demons, and what they do is they attack people that are just, like I said with Richie, like they're down on their luck, just at the end of their rope, and they give them these promises of things, how things can be better, how like, okay, well, you're having trouble with impotence, well, then guess what, we'll make you a sexual tyrannosaurus kind of thing. So, and he goes through some pretty drastic changes, all right? And I'm talking about by pretty drastic changes to the point of where his son walks in on him standing butt naked in his trailer, doing what butt naked people do by themselves, if you get my drift, all right? And so his son knows something is wrong, you know, so he tells his friends about it, and they all kind of get together and figure out what's going on, and they find out that yes, he has been possessed by what is known as a mirror demon, all right? Actually 2 of them, and they're actually hoping for a third person or another person, so this child demon or whatever, can possess them also. So the thing I liked about this book, first of all, is that, okay, this is by Glenn Rolfe, and I have not read anything yet by Glenn Rolfe that I have not been completely and absolutely entertained by, and this is no exception, okay? The first book I read by Glenn Rolfe was Blood and Rain. I loved it, werewolf story. Then I read Abram's Bridge. And that's the thing about Glenn Rolfe, is he and I kind of share a love for Bruce Springsteen. So he either puts lyrics from Springsteen songs in his books, or he names his books after places in Springsteen songs, like he did with Abram's Bridge. Anyway, and this one he does one for The Price You Pay by Springsteen. But anyway, Glenn Rolfe to me is just one of these entertaining horror writers. He's one that, you know, when you go to read this guy's stuff, it's going to be just consistently good, and this is absolutely no exception. All right. So the other thing about this book is that I like the way, instead of having this whole trope of a priest coming in and a young priest and an old priest and the power of Christ compels you and all that kind of stuff. Instead of that, it was just a normal everyday kid and his friends that figure out a way to get rid of this demon. Now, I kind of spoiled things for you, but yes, they do they do get rid of it. I'm sorry to spoil that for you, but I'm not going to tell you how, so I'm not spoiling everything. Sorry about that. Anyway, for this review, I'm going to give this one a 4-star rating. I mean, it's just solid across the board. So yeah, that is The Window, and that is going to be a 4 stars from Glenn Rolfe. All right, so there we go. Okay. All right, so moving on. Next one we're going to talk about is Haunted House by Rick Wood. Now, this is my very first book that I have ever read by Rick Wood, as far as I know. I will say this, I will definitely be reading more because I freaking love this book. I mean, it's got the most simple title of any book that I've ever read, Haunted House. I mean, it's just like, it's so generic and it just works, all right? Anyway, so this kind of takes place between 2 timelines, okay? So the first one takes place, the very beginning of it takes place a week before the lockdown. And you know what lockdown I'm talking about because we've all been in the middle of it for the past year or more, okay? Just now kind of getting back to normal a little bit. Anyway, yes, it is the coronavirus lockdown. So you have this couple, what is her name? I can't remember his name. Oh yeah, I'm so horrible with names today. I'm terrible. Anyway, you got a husband, you got a wife, you got 2 kids. The 2 kids' names are Tilly and Jack, all right? But the husband and wife, they move into this secluded, out-of-the-way place. It's big, it's huge, it's got this well and everything. And they're just trying to get their marriage, trying to piece it back together, all right? Because he committed an act of infidelity, okay? His secretary gave him a hand with something, if you get my drift, okay? Anyway, so they're just trying to piece their marriage back together, all right? So that's that part, okay? Now, let's go back to the old days. This is back, I think, 1939, I believe it was. And you got the original owner of the house, and it's this woman, Mrs. Allen, all right? So Mrs. Allen takes in this young boy. Now, this is right around the start of World War II. And she takes in this young boy who is an evacuee, all right? And she treats this kid like an absolute and total slave, all right? I mean, she makes this kid do things that adults shouldn't have to do. I mean, it's just such... I mean, she just puts this kid through the ringer. I mean, and she treats him absolutely horribly, okay? And then because he sees her do something that is just horrific to protect herself and to protect her house, actually to keep anyone from taking this house from her, she commits an act of murder, and the little boy sees it, or he doesn't see it, but he sees the aftermath of it, and she knows it. And she ends up murdering the little boy and tossing his body down the well. That's not a spoiler. That's just what happens, all right? So then when you get to the modern times, this Mrs. Allen, she hasn't died. She's kind of like living in the mirror. And she starts to affect the wife and starts to get into the wife's skin and starts to whisper in the wife's ear. And she's pretty much possessed the wife is what she's done. And... she is just trying her best to compel this wife to murder her husband and to murder her 2 children so they can be together in the house and she'll have the house to herself once again. Like I said, I freaking love this story. It's one of those where you just like... I just kept turning the pages and turning the pages, okay? I mean, there's not a dull moment in this book, at least not in my opinion, all right? The other thing about this is one of those where you're going to look at it years down the line and you go, I wonder when this was published. And you look and you see something about coronavirus, you go, oh, now I know when it was published. But all that aside, again, I'm giving this one 5 stars. I mean, I didn't expect to. I just thought this was going to be a little throwaway ghost story, haunted house story. And this guy, Rick Wood, just knocked it out of the frickin' park, okay? So there you go. That is my 2 book reviews. You got The Window, 4 stars, and you got Haunted House, 5 stars. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to post this, of course. It is Horror Hump Day, so you know when this is going to be posted, on Wednesday. Anyway, take care and stay scared, y'all. Bye-bye.